All right, Bowies for the Woodsman. As you can see, we have a little bit of some good wintry weather coming in, so I apologize in advance for any wind noise or anything like that. But today, I want to talk about the von Tempsky Bowie made by Sword. Sword knives. Having a Bowie knife, in my opinion, can really get your camp together very rapidly. There's a lot of features in a Bowie that I feel are advantageous to the woodsman. Large knives in general have gotten sort of a bad rap. They're associated with things that they shouldn't be associated with. And keep in mind, folks, that indigenous cultures around the world still use large blades. They have all sorts of shapes and sizes, but they still use large blades. And large blades are a very portable means, to have something on you where you can affect fire and shelter actually quite rapidly. The other important thing about a large knife like this is we have to get the philosophy of use correct. Okay, this isn't a knife, this isn't an axe, this isn't a hatchet, this isn't a saw. Okay, this is a large knife. And so our philosophy has to be that if we go out into the woods and we expect to chop down 6-inch hardwood, standing hardwood, and buck it up into 8-foot sections for a night's fire, we're going to be real disappointed in our large knife, okay? Real disappointed in our large knife. You can still carry an axe, a hatchet, or a saw, and a large knife can work wonders for you. The other thing about the Bowie knife that myself and many other people do like, is hopefully you can see that, is this nice tip here. And this tip is very advantageous, perhaps getting into tight corners and things like that. Not just piercing. Opening canned goods and things like that, really good. Making another hole in your leather belt or leather strap, it'll work there too. This is a real stout point here, so I wouldn't be in any fear of damaging this. But we can get inside the ribs of large game. If that's you find yourself in that situation, carving netting needles and the likes, intricate notches where we can push this blade tip into these corners, crevices, nooks, crannies, you name it. But the whole thing about it is we've got a real nice point to work with. Now, some people might say, well, yeah, but with the Bowie, we don't have a strong tip like we do a drop point. And that is true. And some people are worried about, if I'm batoning a 9-inch round, a round that's this big, then all I have to baton is that clip, and it eats up my baton. Well, folks, in my opinion, you're sort of starting to use the large knife in a way that's against the philosophy. Splitting rounds of that size is a little, unnecessary. You may do it for crafts and things like that, but if I'm going to do anything like that or do it enough, I'm going to make some wedges. And wedges just take a couple minutes. We would seat our knife into the wood, remove it, put our wedge in, and continue splitting. But as you see, in order for me to have to baton out on the clip, I have to have literally a 9-inch round. Otherwise, I still have spine, to accommodate the batoning. So, another great aspect of the large knife in general is the fact we don't need a baton until we get into really heavy work. We take your 4 or 5 inch belt knives or any knife, probably under 8.5 inches, and you're going to have to find a baton to get a better baton, usually. As you see here today, it's going to be hard finding any wood on the ground. And if I have a small knife, like I said, I'm going to have to tension cut something and use that small baton to get another baton. Where this here, right off the bat with a large knife, we don't have to mess around one bit with getting a baton. And even with some splitting, we don't even have to. So here we have a piece of standing seasoned maple. And some of it already has a portion where we have a nice natural split in there. And so that'll aid me in splitting this wood here. So with this Von Tempsky, and I already have a review on it, so I'm not really reviewing this knife here. This is more just things we can do as woodsmen, how we can expedite the camping process with a large knife. Out of the other ones that I had reviewed, this has the least ergonomic handle. We just have a straight up slab of wood and steel. Okay, nothing to really lock us in there. So I'm going to take this tree down here. And that should be enough. Definitely makes a lot of my work easier. The beauty of it is it's something that's, completely portable. So I'm going to utilize this method here where I do some chopping, and I've done this method before. The thing we have to be careful of is if you have any animals or other people around, because we're sort of chopping behind us. The advantage of that is that we're in the most powerful portion of our swing, which is behind us. Of course, the disadvantage is, like I said, you might not really be able to see much of what's going on. The beauty of it is I'm in no danger of hitting myself at any point. So there is some trees with, some with a Y in them, which would be really nice to use. They're sort of out of the view of the camera, so I'm not going to use them here today. But that can definitely, expedite your splitting, make things a little easier on you. Some of this here, as we get to the end, isn't as beautifully seasoned as I was sort of hoping. So I'm going to take this down one more time. And we can see here that we do have a nice natural split in there. I don't know if any of you can see this, but sometimes with that natural split, we don't really need to use a baton. And of course, as you can see, none necessary. Now I like to gather my tinder, prepare my tinder at the end. I may gather it and put my tinder in a pocket, but in weather like this, your tinder should probably be the last thing that you're actually preparing. Maybe, fluffing up your fibrous tinders to get more surface area, or, making your feather sticks. I don't really want my tinder exposed to any weather right now, because that's really going to determine how easy of a time I'm going to get my fire going. So we have some wood all starting to get split up. I'm going to split up some more, and we'll start getting camped together using the Von Tempsky Bowie. Thanks for watching.